There are days that seem ordinary until suddenly they aren't. You wake up, you brush your teeth, and you think you're walking into just another memory. But instead, you walk into the moment that will haunt you for the rest of your life. That's exactly what happened the day we went to the amusement park. It was supposed to be a simple weekend escape. Nothing fancy. Just me, my girlfriend Mia, and my best friend Tyler. We'd done this kind of thing before. Road trips, festivals, late-night food runs. The three of us were inseparable. I'd known Tyler since we were kids. We grew up on the same street, went to the same schools. He was more than a friend. He was a brother. Mia came into my life 5 years ago. We met in college, and it wasn't fireworks at first. It was comfort, stability. Her laugh wasn't the loudest in the room, but it was the one that stuck in your head after you left. She had this quiet way of making you feel like you belonged, like you were home. Eventually, our relationship just clicked. We moved in together, talked about the future, shared bank accounts, grocery lists, lazy Sundays. Tyler and Mia got along naturally. At first, I loved that. It made everything easier. I didn't have to split my time. We'd all hang out, drink wine, play board games, crash on the couch. It never felt strange, never until recently. In the weeks leading up to that weekend, I started to feel things shift. Little things. Mia started texting more, always smiling at her screen. She said it was work. Tyler, too, started making excuses not to hang out, except with Mia. They always had little inside jokes I didn't remember being part of. But I didn't say anything. I told myself I was being paranoid, that it was just life being messy. So when Tyler suggested we drive out to the old amusement park on the edge of the city, the one we all loved back in college, I said yes. I wanted to believe we could still be what we were, that the weird energy I felt was just stress or overthinking, that a day of sun, rides, and nostalgia would fix everything. The park hadn't changed much. Still had the faded signs, the peeling paint on the merry-go-round, the smell of popcorn and oil in the air. The place was charming in a run-down way, like a time capsule. Mia looked beautiful that day. She wore a flowy blue sundress, hair loose, sunglasses perched on her nose. Tyler was his usual self, backward cap, cocky grin, cracking jokes with the teenage guy at the ticket booth. The three of us roamed the park for hours, rode the roller coaster twice, got soaked on the log flume, shared nachos while sitting on a bench in the sun. For a while, it felt okay. Normal. But there were still those glances between them. Those weird, too comfortable silences when I stepped away to grab drinks or answer a call. It all led up to the Ferris wheel. The sun was starting to set, casting this golden light over everything. The Ferris wheel stood tall against the skyline, a slow-moving giant with creaky cabins and chipped paint. It was the kind of ride that forced you to sit with your thoughts. Tyler suggested we go up as the final ride before heading out. When we got to the line, the operator told us only 2 people could ride per cabin. No exceptions. I looked at Mia, then at Tyler. "I'll go with Mia," Tyler said quickly, casually, as if it didn't matter. I blinked, surprised. "Oh, okay. I'll take the next one." They smiled, laughed, stepped into the cabin together. I stood there, watching the metal door shut behind them. The wheel creaked and began to turn, lifting them slowly, smoothly into the sky. I was left behind. I stood in line, pretending to scroll through my phone, pretending not to care. But inside, my stomach tightened. Something didn't feel right. I looked up and their cabin was just a silhouette now, high above the park, swaying gently in the wind. I tried to tell myself I was being ridiculous, that it was just a ride, just a few minutes. But then I remembered something. The way Mia had leaned into Tyler earlier when I'd gone to the bathroom. The way she smiled at him differently. The way they whispered sometimes when they thought I wasn't listening. And suddenly, I didn't want the ride anymore. I didn't want to play along with the illusion, because in that moment, staring at the fading sky and that rising cabin, I knew something was happening up there. Something I wasn't meant to see. I don't remember exactly how long I stood there, phone in hand, eyes flicking up to that slowly turning wheel, pretending everything was fine. But in truth, every second dragged like an hour. The metal groan of the Ferris wheel became a taunt, and the laughter of the crowd around me turned into a muffled blur. I couldn't stop staring at their cabin. It moved higher, closer to the top. Then it paused, as the operator often did, giving riders a moment to enjoy the view. But I wasn't watching the sunset. I wasn't thinking about the view. I was watching shadows. Their cabin was tinted, but not opaque. With the sun hitting just right, I could see the silhouettes of their bodies inside. They were close. Too close. At first, I tried to convince myself they were just talking, maybe laughing. Maybe he told her a stupid joke and she leaned in to smack him, the way she sometimes did with me. But the outline of their movements didn't match the story I was trying to tell myself. There was no space between them. And then I saw it. Her head lowered. His hand reached for her. Not like friends. My breath caught in my throat. It felt like my brain short-circuited. One part screaming that this couldn't be what it looked like. The other part dragging up every memory that told me it probably was. The late-night texts. The study sessions. The times she told me she was exhausted, but somehow had energy for Tyler. I turned away, suddenly dizzy. The world spun faster than the wheel. I sat down on a nearby bench, elbows on my knees, gripping my hair to keep from exploding. This couldn't be real, but it was. I didn't need proof beyond that shadow, the kind of closeness you don't fake, the kind of body language you know by heart because you've lived it. I had loved Mia for 5 years. I knew how she moved when she was in love, or in lust, and she wasn't doing it with me anymore. I waited. I could have walked away right then, could have disappeared into the crowd and let the truth sink in alone. But some part of me needed to see their faces when they came down. I wanted to see if they'd lie, if they'd act like nothing happened. When the wheel turned again and their cabin began descending, I stood, hands in my pockets, heart beating out of rhythm. They stepped out, laughing. Mia brushed her hair behind her ear, avoiding my eyes just slightly. Tyler slapped me on the back. Dude, that view up there? Insane. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile. I bet. They exchanged a glance. I caught it. That subtle flick of the eye. Guilt, or fear, or just acknowledgement that I was no longer as blind as they hoped. The rest of the evening was a blur. We walked through the park like nothing was wrong. We shared cotton candy, took photos, pretended, and the entire time I felt like a ghost haunting a life I no longer belonged in. When we got to the parking lot, I faked a headache. You two go ahead, I said. I'll Uber back. Mia touched my arm. You okay? I just need a minute, I lied. She hesitated, then nodded. Tyler offered to stay, but I waved him off. Watching them walk toward the car together felt like watching my world unravel in real time. my best friend, my girlfriend, walking side by side with a rhythm that no longer needed me. When they drove off, I didn't call a cab. I just stood there in the darkening lot, staring at the empty Ferris wheel. Something inside me had broken. Quietly, without drama, no yelling, no confrontation, just the cold realization that two people I trusted more than anyone had betrayed me in the most personal, most intimate way imaginable. And somehow, that silence hurt more than any fight ever could. The next morning, I woke up with that familiar weight in my chest, the kind that doesn't go away with coffee or a hot shower. The sun was already pouring through the blinds, and for a moment, I wished I could go back to before the Ferris wheel, before the silhouettes, before I knew. But now, everything looked different. And the worst part? She was acting the same. Mia came over later that day. She brought iced coffee, kissed me on the cheek, and asked if I was feeling better. She curled up on the couch like she always did, scrolling on her phone, talking about a new show we should binge together. It was all so normal. Too normal. And now I couldn't stop noticing everything. The way her phone stayed face down, how she laughed a little too hard at nothing, how she avoided eye contact when I brought up Tyler casually. He texted me a meme this morning. "Oh yeah," she said, forcing a smile. "He's always sending you dumb stuff." But the pause before the smile was just a little too long. The first real crack came when I finally gave in to the curiosity clawing at me. That night, after she left, I opened my laptop and pulled up my cloud storage. A month ago, I'd set up automatic sync between my phone and the cloud. Photos, videos, even WhatsApp backups, just in case. And there it was. A picture I didn't remember taking. Time-stamped 2 weeks ago. Mia in Tyler's hoodie, not mine, on a couch that wasn't ours. Her face flushed, a glass of wine in hand, her legs stretched over someone else's lap. You couldn't see his face, but the arm was unmistakable. That stupid wristband Tyler never took off, even when it was fraying. I stared at it for a long time. Then I scrolled further. Another video. Silent. Less than 10 seconds. Her lips pressed to someone's neck. His neck. Same bracelet. Same hoodie. Her smile afterward was relaxed in a way I hadn't seen in months. I felt like throwing up. So it wasn't just the Ferris wheel. This had been going on. And suddenly, everything made sense. The missed calls, the extra study sessions she never used to need. The weekend she said she had to visit her parents, but I saw on her reel that she was downtown with friends. Tyler had tagged her in a story she must have thought I wouldn't see. The timeline was breaking apart. It had been weeks, maybe months, and I had been walking around like an idiot, blind to everything, believing in a loyalty that no longer existed. I started remembering little things. That time Tyler helped her carry boxes into her apartment when she moved. How long they were gone that day. The night we all drank too much, and he stayed over. Said he crashed on the couch, but I remember seeing his shoes in the hallway outside her room the next morning. I didn't want to believe it then. I do now. And then came the worst realization. I had no idea who started it, who made the first move, if it was a mistake or something they both planned. But did it matter? They were together now, in every way but officially. And here I was, sleeping in the same bed she came back to, while she texted him under the covers, probably laughing about how clueless I still was. Only now I wasn't clueless. Now I was quiet, watching, measuring. I didn't tell her I knew, not yet, because I wasn't sure what would hurt more, blowing up everything in one violent confrontation, or slowly dismantling this illusion piece by piece. So I chose silence, for now. But inside, the clock had started ticking. Some men cry when their hearts are broken. Some disappear. Others beg, scream, or spiral. I planned. I didn't want closure. I wanted control, not a conversation, not some half-hearted apology. I didn't want to hear her say she was confused or that it just happened. I wanted her to feel what I had felt. The betrayal, the humiliation, the burn behind your eyes when the person you trusted most becomes a stranger. But most of all, I wanted her to lose everything she thought she had in her grip. So I made a list. Step 1. Keep playing dumb. Smile, nod, kiss her forehead, tell her I love her. Give her no reason to suspect a thing. People are weakest when they think they're winning. Step 2. Collect everything. Every screenshot, every message, every timestamp. I downloaded the photo of her on his lap, the muted video of their kiss, even the old text thread between Tyler and me from the night of the Ferris wheel. He sent me a, "Sorry, bro. Wish I could have been there. Happy birthday, though?" Yeah, I bet you do. Step 3. Isolate her. Slowly. Subtly. I stopped inviting her to hangouts with mutual friends. I forgot to mention events, stopped posting us together, started messaging friends in private, letting little details slip. I think she's been stressed, said she needed some space from people lately. She and Tyler? Nah, I'm sure it's just nothing. He's been weird, though. Just enough to plant the seeds, let people notice patterns for themselves. Suspicion is louder when it comes from silence. Step 4. The apartment. It was in my name. Every rent payment, every bill, I handled it. So I quietly found a new place, signed the lease under a fake reason. Just wanted more space to work. I told her it wouldn't be ready for a month. She was relieved. I could tell. She thought she'd still have time to play both sides. She had no idea she was walking into a trap. Step 5. The revenge. It had to be public, undeniable, precise. So I chose her birthday. She had been hinting at planning a little get-together, a dinner, maybe drinks after. "Just the close circle," she said, texting Tyler on the side, no doubt. Perfect. I offered to throw it at the rooftop bar downtown, told her she deserved something special. I knew the manager, pulled some strings, got them to set up a small projector. "Just a cute slideshow," I told her. "Our memories." She cried when I said that, called me the sweetest guy in the world. She had no idea. I made the slideshow myself. 10 minutes long. The first 7 were real memories. Pictures of us traveling, laughing, holding hands at concerts. I made it beautiful, romantic, nostalgic, something to draw people in. And then, slide 8. Her in Tyler's hoodie. Slide 9. The kiss video. Slide 10. Texts between them. Time-stamped, vulgar, unmistakably hers. Slide 11. The video of Tyler saying, "If he ever finds out, we're screwed." Slide 12. A black screen with just one word, "Congratulations." The playlist cut out right as it ended. And in that silence I would step forward, calm, empty-handed, nothing but a toast in my hand. To Mia, I'd say, lifting the glass, and to Tyler, the most loyal couple I know. She'd break first. She always did. Her mouth would open, eyes darting, scrambling for an excuse, a lie, anything. Tyler would go pale. My friends, our friends, would go silent. And in that quiet implosion, I'd walk away. I wouldn't yell, wouldn't beg, wouldn't even look back. Because revenge isn't about noise. It's about precision, timing, and control. I didn't need her to cry. I needed her to remember. People think revenge is an explosion. Sudden, loud, immediate. They're wrong. Revenge is a quiet storm you build one cloud at a time. After I finished the slideshow, I didn't look at it again. I didn't need to. Every second of it was etched into my mind. Every transition, every reveal. It wasn't a presentation. It was an execution. The party was 2 weeks away, just enough time to tighten the screws. I started with her friends. She had a small circle, 2 close girlfriends, both of whom were obsessed with social media and gossip. I took one of them out for coffee. Just needed someone to talk to, I said. Mia's been distant lately, and I think something's wrong. I didn't accuse. I hinted. She's been texting late at night. She hides her phone when I walk in. It's probably just work stress, right? By the next day, the other girl messaged me. Hey, is everything okay with you two? Mia seems off lately. The virus had begun to spread. With Tyler, I played a different game. I acted normal, almost too normal. Still joked with him in the group chat. Still sent him memes. Still tagged him in dumb videos. And when we all met up for drinks one night, I made sure to pay his tab. Happy to, man. You've always been like a brother to me. He smiled like an idiot. And Mia? She was getting comfortable. Too comfortable. She started dressing up more, wearing perfume to go run errands. She left her phone face down constantly now. Once, while cooking dinner, she excused herself and stayed in the bathroom for 15 minutes. I heard her whispering through the door. I didn't interrupt. Let her build her fantasy. Let her think she was in control. Meanwhile, I finalized every detail for the party. The rooftop bar was booked. The guest list was locked. I double-checked the projector. I met with the manager to walk through the timing of the slideshow, pretending it was a cute surprise. He smiled and said, "You're a good guy, man. She's lucky." I laughed. She has no idea. I even went so far as to buy her a necklace, custom made. I told her I wanted to give her something that meant forever. She teared up when I gave it to her. "I don't deserve you," she said. She didn't, not even close. On the night before the party, I did one last thing. I left my phone unlocked on the couch with a fake message open from a contact named Emily. It read, "Can't wait to finally see you tomorrow. She's so clueless, LOL." Mia saw it. I made sure of that. An hour later, she confronted me, furious, eyes wide. "Who the hell is Emily?" I paused, blinked slowly. "You looked through my phone?" She froze. I nodded. "Wow. I didn't think you were the jealous type." She stammered, apologized, said she'd just seen it by accident. I smiled. "Don't worry. I'm not hiding anything." The hypocrisy suffocated the room. She didn't bring it up again. And just like that, she walked into the final phase of the plan, thinking I was the fool. Let her rage about Emily. Let her spiral in her own guilt and insecurity. Because tomorrow, in front of everyone, our friends, our circle, her girls, even Tyler, she would realize what it means to be truly exposed. And I would stand there, smiling, watching the storm I built fall like ash around her. The night was perfect. Not a single cloud in the sky, just enough wind to make the rooftop feel alive, and the skyline burned orange as the sun dipped behind the city. I arrived early, greeted the staff, double-checked the AV setup, and tipped the bartender in advance. "Be generous with the drinks," I said with a grin. "It's a celebration." By the time guests started showing up, I'd already shifted into host mode. Big smiles, handshakes, half hugs, and 100 "thanks for coming." I wore a sleek, dark suit, sharp and composed. People noticed. Mia arrived 30 minutes late. On purpose, of course. She loved making an entrance. Red dress, hair curled just right, and the necklace I'd given her sparkling on her collarbone like a punchline. Tyler arrived a few minutes after. Separate, but not far behind. They both hugged me, laughing, pretending nothing was wrong, pretending they weren't the villains in the room. Everyone else thought this was just another birthday. It wasn't. I gave a short toast early on. Nothing dramatic, just enough to thank people for being there, praise Mia for helping with the plans, and joke about getting older but not wiser. Laughter, clinks of glasses, all warm and fake and perfect. I waited while people drank, got comfortable, danced, loosened up. I chatted, posed for photos, kept everything moving just enough to seem real. Every time Mia looked over at me, I smiled. She smiled back. She had no idea I'd already won. Then, an hour in, I tapped a spoon against a glass. Everyone quieted. "All right, everyone," I said, stepping into the center of the rooftop. "I've got something special to share." The screen flickered to life. The music dimmed. Mia's eyes sparkled. She looked genuinely touched. Tyler laughed. "You did a video montage, man?" "Sort of," I said, stepping aside. "Just a little walk down memory lane." It started innocently. Childhood photos, embarrassing teenage pics, videos of friends saying happy birthday. Laughter echoed. People nudged each other and smiled. Then the tone shifted. A photo of Mia and Tyler together. A bit too close, taken from behind, clearly without them knowing. A few people murmured, then another, and another, her hand brushing his arm, their smiles, their eyes. Whispers began. Then the audio changed, phone recordings, not the words, just tone, moaning, gasping, her voice, his. People looked around in stunned silence, mouths opened, eyes wide, and then the last slide. "Happy birthday, right?" And under it, "They've been doing this for over 3 months." I stepped forward, looked around. No yelling, no chaos, just silence. Mia's face was pale. Tyler looked frozen. I turned to them and said calmly, "I just thought you should all know." Then I picked up my coat and walked away. No screaming, no drama, no violence, just the truth, served cold and public. By the time I got to the elevator, I could hear the questions starting. Her friends demanding answers, someone shouting, Tyler trying to explain. I didn't care. Let the storm rage behind me. I wasn't in it anymore. I'd already made it out. The morning after felt unreal. I woke up in my apartment, head clear, heart strangely calm. No hangover, no guilt, just silence. A kind of silence I hadn't felt in months. It didn't feel empty. It felt clean. My phone was a war zone. Missed calls, voicemails, texts, some from numbers I didn't recognize, others from mutual friends, Mia's family, even Tyler's brother. Most of them started with, "I don't know what really happened last night." Others, "Man, that was brutal, but damn." And one from Mia, "Can we please talk? Please, just talk." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. By noon, the story had spread through every corner of our social circle. Friends were calling it the rooftop massacre. Tyler's girlfriend, yeah, he had one too, dumped him that morning. Publicly, viciously. Apparently, she hadn't known about Mia. She posted screenshots of her breakup texts, tagged both him and Mia. It went viral on campus. Everyone saw it. People love drama, especially when it's not theirs. I had lunch with Liam, a friend who'd helped me put the whole thing together. We sat at a quiet cafe watching the world move like nothing had happened. But for me, everything had. "Dude," he said, biting into a sandwich, "that was some god-tier revenge." "I didn't want revenge," I replied. "I wanted truth." He smirked. "Well, you got both." That evening, I opened my social media and saw Mia had posted a black screen on her story with the words, "Please stop sending threats. I made a mistake. I'm human." The comments didn't spare her, but I didn't feel good about it. Not really. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I just felt free. 2 days later, Mia showed up at my door. I didn't answer. She knocked for 15 minutes, pacing back and forth in the hallway. I watched through the peephole. Her makeup was gone, her hair messy. She looked small, tired, broken. I didn't open the door. Later, she left a note under it. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I don't even know why I did what I did, but I lost the best thing in my life, and I know it's my fault. I'll always regret it." I kept the note. Not because I wanted to remember her, but because it reminded me that trusting blindly has its price. Tyler tried texting me too. His message was even shorter. "I messed up. I know. I don't deserve your forgiveness." He was right. He didn't. Most of our mutual friends took my side, but a few stayed neutral, and that was okay. I didn't want loyalty, I just wanted peace. The weirdest part? After everything, I felt stronger, not hardened or cold, but clear. Clear on what I wanted, clear on what I deserved, and most of all, clear on what I would never tolerate again. A month passed. That night on the rooftop, Mia's betrayal, Tyler's silence, my confrontation, it all became something distant, like a memory from another life. But its weight still lived inside me. The wound wasn't bleeding anymore, but the scar, it was there, deep. Visible to me, if not the world. I didn't go to the same hangouts. I didn't answer certain texts, and I definitely didn't look for closure, because truthfully, I already had it. It just didn't feel like I thought it would. People always think closure comes with some dramatic conversation, a tearful apology, a final hug. But sometimes, closure is just accepting that it ended, and that it ended that way. The universe doesn't always owe you an explanation. Sometimes the explanation is simply, they didn't love you like you loved them. It's cruel, but it's clean. One Friday afternoon, I decided to go back to the amusement park. I hadn't been there since that night. I walked past the ticket booths, past the food stalls, and stood at the base of the Ferris wheel. The same one I'd watched them enter together, laughing, clueless. I bought a single ticket. The guy loading people onto the ride looked at me funny. Maybe he remembered me. Or maybe I just looked like someone chasing ghosts. I stepped into the cabin alone. As it rose, the wind kissed my face. The city unfolded beneath me. Tiny cars, tiny people, everything smaller than it seemed when I was in the middle of it all. Halfway up, I took a breath, closed my eyes, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel anger, or pain, or bitterness. I just felt the height. The air, the silence. Up there, the betrayal didn't matter. Not really. It was still a scar, but it wasn't in control anymore. I was. I thought about all the years I gave to someone who couldn't see my worth. I thought about the loyalty I showed a friend who had none for me. And I realized something simple. They didn't deserve me. Not the love I gave, not the faith, not the version of myself I gave so fully, so blindly, but someone would, someday. As the wheel began its descent, I looked out over the city and smiled, a real smile, one that didn't feel forced, one that said, "You made it through." No drama, no fanfare, just peace. And sometimes, that's the best ending you can ask for.